Thinking of heading to Moreton Island? Think again. Here are 10 reasons to stay far, far away from one of Queensland's wildly popular gems.
Here we are on the Micat Ferry.
Ah yes, the Micat Ferry. The first real hurdle before you can crack your first tin on the beach. 90 minutes of some kind of tropical purgatory, because the only path to this paradise is by boarding a floating gridlock of four-wheel drives. It's wall-to-wall Colorados and Tritons, packed tighter than a Bunnings car park for the sausage sizzle, while blokes in pluggers and BCF shirts boast to each other who's getting further up the beach on 40 psi and in two-wheel drive. The air hums with the tension of waiting for that first glimpse of the island's white sand dunes and subtle hopes that your esky hasn't tipped over as you boarded. All the while, you're serenaded by the shrill symphony of Ford Ranger motion alarms shrieking into the salty breeze. The whole scene almost makes you forget you're voluntarily sailing to a place with little to no reception. Once settled on board, you're thrust into what can only be described as a maritime airport lounge, minus the airport bar prices, but twice the salt in the air. The only thing keeping your brain from going completely numb? A warm pie from the cafe and a chalky milk to properly lock in the seasickness. Sure, the destination is postcard perfect, but it's a journey you never asked for to a place that's better off being a notch further down on the bucket list. My advice, turn back now.
If you've ever been on Moreton Island, you've definitely been on this road. We're on the Middle Road.
An off-road island adventure conveniently ruined by, well, convenience. Enter Middle Road, a track that slices straight through the heart of the island like some kind of four-wheel drive express lane. It's Moreton's answer to a motorway. As much traffic as the Bruce Highway, just fewer servo pies. Where's the fun in shaving hours off your drive when you could be white-knuckling it along the eastern beach, dodging rogue waves, soft sand, and your own poor timing with the tides? If you're not questioning your fuel range and whether your snorkel install was sealed correctly, are you even off-roading? Middle Road might get you to your camp spot faster, but it robs you the full coastal chaos experience. It's a shortcut for campers who think induction cooktops are the peak of touring innovation.
The pointiest thing on the island, the Cape Moreton Lighthouse.
It's the island's biggest ornament. Sure, it's historic, the views are epic, and it still lights up at night, but honestly, it's doing nothing for me. Unless an Uber Eats ship swings by with a Macca's cheesy and a nugget pack for me, I'm not overly fussed about maritime navigation. From where I'm standing, it's basically a glorified bird perch. Still, make sure you get a killer Instagram photo, just to show everyone why they don't need to visit.
Now what are you going to do? Yeah, g'day guys, I'm just using a Makita. It's a DUB154Z. Now I've got a 5 amp Makita 18 volt battery in there. As you can see, I've barely used any battery to get this fire going.
We're about to walk up the Rous Battery. All right, let's go.
If your idea of an exciting island escape involves stumbling across a crumbling war relic that looks like a rejected scene from Trainspotting, then congrats, you've found your paradise. The Rous Battery has all the historic weight of a World War II defence post, but provides the subtle thought in the back of your mind, hope you're up to date with your tetanus shots. It's got that post-apocalyptic charm, peeling concrete, mysterious and questionable holes, as well as that special blend of eerie silence mixed with cicadas screeching at full volume. If you prefer your historic relics polished, restored, and renovated like a Metricon display home, this is not the spot for you. Just pure, untouched historical decay.
All right, stopping in for a quick bite to eat at the Gutter Bar. Let's go.
Financial ruin served cold. The seafood's fresh, the beers are cold, and the vibe's absolutely solid. But my wallet still hasn't recovered since 2021. Just when you've gotten used to fishing free tins out of the Dometic and surviving on burnt coal snags all week, this place hits like a financial left hook. Sure, you're paying for the experience, sunsets over the water, sand between your toes, mixed with the occasional locals border collie eyeing off your calamari, but it still hurts handing over half your camping budget for a seafood basket and a frosty 4X. They're fresh, they're local, and depending on who you ask, they're the best you'll taste on this side of Australia. Moreton Bay rock oysters from Kooringal are the real deal. Plucked straight from the briny shallows and served with just enough lemon to convince you that these beauties should be in the weekly shopping budget.
All right, we've just pulled up at Moreton Bay Rock Oysters just outside of Kooringal. We're really excited to try some, but unfortunately they're closed for the season.
Now, I had a whole plan for this video which specifically involved showing us eating delicious oysters available from Moreton Bay. But in my own poor planning, I was shocked to find out that they were out of season during our visit, and it left me, well, very empty-handed for this video, literally. They say when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Well, life didn't give me lemons nor oysters this time, but I got something even better in getting a chance to chat with the owner and peek behind the curtain of the operation briefly while some much needed maintenance was going on.
So I catch and then I grow out and then sell and market to Stratty in Brisbane. It takes 3 years. About 1.5 million to carry.
And this is what all the oysters seat on?
So these get put out in packs.
Yeah, okay.
And they'll be out there so many months, and then the larvae will settle and put its foot down, form a shell, and then grow like that, and then we crack them off like this, and then basically every 3 months we touch them.
Unreal. And how long does it take? So it takes 3 years to grow
3
them?
years from this to you eat. They're a rock oyster, the native one, they're not the big Pacific.
If you ignore every warning in this video and you do make it out to Moreton Island, make sure you come support the local businesses. And if you're lucky enough to get there in season, make sure you get yourself some of the best oysters in Australia.
So weren't successful in getting a couple of oysters, but managed to have a chat to the owner there, even though they're out of season, so there's none available to be eaten. Got a little glimpse at what he actually does in there out of the season, and pretty interesting to check out. But we're gonna have to come back during the season and actually get some proper oysters.
The sunsets. Too pretty to be real. Look, if your idea of a proper Aussie sunset doesn't involve squinting through eucalyptus smoke while swatting at a cloud of mozzies the size of a Suzuki Jimny, then I don't know what to tell ya. But Moreton Island? No. Moreton goes against the grain with its breathtaking, Instagrammable sunsets over the water. We're talking skies painted in fiery golds, soft purples, and those annoying pastel pinks that look like they've been filtered to death. Throw in a few gently silhouetted shipwrecks and the soothing hush of waves lapping the shore, and you got yourself the most offensively peaceful evening imaginable. If you're into that kind of scene, you're better off jumping on a quick bogan missile to Honolulu. You've come to a rugged island for a bit of grit and nature, not to have your heartstrings played like a Powderfinger song. 9 out of 10 offensive. Avoid. The towering sand dunes of Moreton Island. Majestic, scenic, dangerously fun, because nothing says relaxing island getaway like climbing a multi-story mountain of scorching hot sand just so you can launch yourself off it like an aerodynamically flawed meatball.
We're now at one of the main sand dunes in Moreton Island, which is named Big Sand Hills.
These dunes aren't just big, they're monstrous. They call to you, whispering sweet nothings like slide down me on a flimsy piece of plastic at terminal velocity. And before you know it, you're throwing your sunglasses and dignity survive the impact. You truly haven't bonded with your kids unless you've watched them face plant into a dune. Bring a GoPro and a first aid kit, possibly a chiropractor too, because these dunes, they don't care about your spinal alignment. If you enjoy keeping your knees intact, you're best to admire them from a safe, sand-free distance, like your living room. If your idea of serenity involves fighting for tower space on a packed shoreline, navigating hot concrete paths lined with juice bars, and staring up at multi-story mansions you'll never afford, North Point might not be your scene. This place isn't Bondi Beach. Perched on a raw and rugged headland, North Point is a slice of untouched coastline where nature still runs the show. Crystal clear water, perfectly peeling waves, and just a handful of people around to enjoy them. No traffic noise, no overpriced parking meters. The surf, it's there, technically, but if you're expecting gnarly barrels and high energy drops, you might be disappointed. Most of the surfers here are just drifting, bobbing around like human boys waiting for gentle peelers. North Point serves solitude. No crowds, no clutter, just clean salt air and the kind of peace that's getting harder to find. You'll probably hate it. The Tangalooma Wrecks. Nothing says tropical Queensland island like a lineup of half-sunk metal corpses rusting gracefully in paradise. Because apparently, this is what the crystal clear waters of Moreton Island really needed. A bunch of deliberately sunk ships. Sure, they're awesome for snorkeling and the marine habitat, but you know what's way more interesting? Ships that float. These wrecks are parked just off the beach, tucked between Tangalooma Island Resort and where the Micat Ferry unloads the next wave of Subaru XVs destined to get bogged in the middle track. The Tangalooma Wrecks is a great spot to pull up before jumping on the barge home, perfect for spending your final hours on the island and reminding yourself why you probably won't be back anytime soon. In case you haven't caught on, this is all a joke, and I absolutely bloody love Moreton Island, but yeah, you probably shouldn't visit the place unless you're into beautiful pristine beaches, top tier camping, epic four-wheel drive tracks, friendly locals, and unforgettable sunsets. But who wants that, right? Thanks so much for watching.